How's it going, everyone? Coming at you with a little midweek video here. Setting up a SGC submission for 11 cards. I figured I would just go through the cards real quick and kind of give you my idea of what I'm expecting to get it as a grade. Kind of compare that to what the actual grades are when they come through. So, majority of these are my father-in-law's cards. Couple in here are mine. I think the last two, just the last two are mine. So we'll go through them here, kind of show you what they are and what I'm expecting. So starting off with a 1962 Mickey Mantle tops. Card's not in great shape. You can obviously see the off-centering, rounding on all four of the corners. There's no creases or anything like that. Surface-wise, it's actually pretty nice. Just those edges and corners. Expecting probably a 3 on this. Hopes aren't real high. Could be even a 2 just with how off-centered it is. But nice to be able to get this into a nice hard case and protect it. And also, even as a 2, it increased the value quite a bit on these old vintage cards. So one of the things I have noticed from my last submission and just comping prices is on these older cards, SGC can bring up your values quite a bit, but on modern cards it's just not there. So I have a stack of cards that I want to get graded, but right now there's just no extra value in grading them. A couple prospects and stuff like that I have, but we'll hold on to them and see how they do. If they start taking off, then it'll make a little more sense to grade them. But hopefully by that time, PSA prices will keep coming down and their turnaround times will get a lot better. So next up, 62 tops Hank Aaron. Better centering on this one, still quite a bit off center there. About 80-20 or 85-15 really on that right to left. Corners are in a lot better shape on this one. I'd like to see this one pull a 4 or a 5. But again, just be real nice to get it in that case. The vintage cards just look so much nicer in an SGC case, real clean. But I do like how this card looks. Real nice shape for being, 60 years old? Next is a 63 Ernie Banks. Very clean card. It's hard for me to judge the centering top to bottom. Obviously, it's quite thin up there, but I don't know how exactly they judge them off the bottoms of these. But left to right centering looks really good, and the corners are actually really sharp on these. No chipping on that red border on the bottom. And I would like to see this one possibly climb up in the 7s or 8s. I mean, it's just an overall clean card. Some minor specs. I don't even know if you can pick them up. Yeah, you can kind of see them right there, right there. Bring down the surface a little bit. All these cards I make sure I go over with a microfiber and just kind of wipe down anything on them. With these old vintage cards, you don't have to worry too much about fingerprints or anything like that. Where like the new glossy ones, you got to make sure you get all your fingerprints and stuff like that off there, because the grading companies will not touch those or clean them off. So I mean, if you have fingerprints, that's going to affect your surface, and then you get a slabbed card that has fingerprints that you're going to see for the rest of your life, or until you take it out of the holder. Next up, Hank Aaron, 1963 tops. If you notice this one, there's a lot more border up on the top. But then it actually looks kind of cut off down here. So I think the Ernie Banks might even be closer to being the centering that you're looking for. A little bit of surface issues on this one. Again, the corners are pretty sharp. Left to right's pretty close. I'd say about 60-40 on that centering. This one I would hope for probably a 6, 6.5 maybe on this one. It's kind of what I'm guessing. Beautiful looking card though, real nice. Next up, 63 Rookie Stars card. The main one you see on there is Willie Stargell down in the bottom corner. This card has some rounding on pretty much all the corners. The edge on the top here got some chipping on that blue. So this one, not going to grade nearly as high. Hoping for about a 5 on this. Back's nice and clean. You can see some rounding down here. Now the lighting's not great in here, so it's a little bit harder to see these, but nice card on that one. Next up, we got a 65 Topps Joe Morgan rookie. And this card is in phenomenal shape. Left to right, your centering's pretty much perfect, top and bottom. It's a little off. You can see the thin border up there, a little bit thicker down here, but the corners are, all 4 corners are real sharp. Maybe a little bit down on this bottom one. Unfortunately, it's hard to even pick up, but there's a tiny, let's see if I can get the light on there now, tiny bit of staining right down here, just a tiny little orange speck. So that's going to definitely impact it. I'm hoping to get an 8, 7.5 or an 8 on here. Very nice clean card. The surface is great. Maybe a little speck right here. I don't know how forgiving they are on some of these older ones, but for how sharp these corners are on a card that's almost 60 years old, what's that, 57 years old, is phenomenal. Again, these are my father-in-law's cards that I've been helping him kind of go through, pick the ones that we're going to send in. The case up, he's looking to pretty much get rid of all of them, so once they come back, they will all probably be getting sold here. This is Hank Aaron's last card. It's a 1976 Topps. You can definitely tell he's quite a bit older there. Corners are a little bit rounded here on the bottom. Tops are pretty nice. Centering's off a little bit, top to bottom, but left to right's not too bad. It almost looks like it's a little bit shifted. It starts out a little thinner down here, gets a little thicker up here, a little thinner up here, thicker down there. So quality control on these older cards just wasn't the best, but figured his last card, get that in a case, get it protected, and again, it's going to increase its value quite a bit. I would say this is going to probably be 6.5, 6 or a 7 if I had to guess. I might be generous with these grades. I mean, who knows? They could come back and I could just be disappointed on all of them, but I was actually pleasantly surprised on my last submission. So some of them came back and they were in quite a bit better grades than I had expected. This is a Ricky Henderson rookie, 1980. This one's not going to grade super high. Corners have minor rounding on the bottom, but you can see that left to right centering is definitely a little rough. 85-15, maybe even 90-10. Surface issues, got a couple of these little dots in here, which is kind of common on some of these older cards. A little tiny bit of surface specks up there. Hoping for a 7 on this, but that centering just kills it right off the bat. I mean, it's going to be tough to pull a good grade on that. Again, hope for the best. I feel like sometimes you can get a good grader on a good day, and sometimes you just don't. My last one, we had a Walter Payton rookie. I thought this one was the better of the two, but looking closer, the other one is going to be a better card. So this is the 76. The previous one got a 7. This one's got a little bit of rounding, a little bit of soft corners on both the bottoms here. And then it's actually got, if you hit it just right, it's got the slightest little crease imperfection. It's not a crease in the card, but almost like a little fold on the surface. Very small, maybe I don't know, a couple millimeters long, but it'll get dinged for that. Centering's pretty good, maybe 60-40, but overall the centering's pretty nice on this card. Back is really clean. So if that last one got a 7, I'll hope for a 6 on this one. Kind of give you an idea. Raw, these are going to go for about $200 to $250 maybe. That 7 I had ended up going for $615. So if we get a 6, hoping for around like the $500 mark, somewhere around there. I mean, you can double your value just based on getting it graded. It's pretty nice. So these last 2 cards are mine. This one is a 1955 Bowman Hank Aaron card. I ended up getting this up at Pals, my local LCS. Unfortunately, the owner of Pals just recently passed away. So that's kind of sad. Just up there the other day, though. It was actually really busy in there, so that was really good to see. Picked up a couple Bowman draft boxes, as you can see in the background there. But it looked like a lot of kids were there, too. So using some Christmas money, getting in the hobby. A lot of parents with their kids there, so it was really nice to see. Hopefully they can keep going up there. I do enjoy that LCS compared to some of the others around the area. They don't get as much product, but it's definitely a lot better environment, a lot better feel. You don't feel like you're just some customer. They treat you real well and talk about baseball in there. You can talk about whatever and just kind of hang out. It's pretty nice. So hopefully hope the best for him, but we'll see how it goes here in the future. But yeah, so I got this. He was doing repacks on these 55 Bowmans. And I bought a few of them. I got a Yogi Berra also, but the Hank Aaron was obviously the second biggest hit out of there. The Mickey Mantle would have been the biggest, but I hit the second biggest, which was nice. Corners aren't great. Definitely some soft edges on there. It does have a little bit of a surface crease. You can kind of see it right there. Not all the way through the card or anything like that, but they will ding it quite a bit on that. I'm more or less just looking to get this card encased just for protection. These cards are kind of notorious for having more of a blurry type photo. Just the printing quality back then was not what it is these days. But centering's good, left to right, top to bottom, a little bit harder to do. Just I don't know exactly what the length is on the top and bottom that they go for, because obviously you have the TV dials on the bottom here. So back of the card's got a little bit of surface issues on the left. Hoping this card comes back. I would probably say a 3. I'm hoping. I just know that crease is going to bring a decent amount of decrease on it. But overall, I don't think I'm going to sell that card by any means. I think it's just going to stay in my PC and be protected. And the last card I got is a 2009 Topps UFC George St. Pierre Bloodlines card. They've only graded 6 of these cards. They're really rare to find any that are graded. SGC's graded 6 of them. 3 have been 10s, 3 have been 9s. Looked at this one. Surface is amazing. Didn't see any issues with that. Corners are great. Didn't see any issues with any of that. So I'm hoping I can get a 10 on it. But I do know that they do grade very hard. I'll settle for a 9.5. Anything less than a 9.5 I'll be pretty disappointed with. But hopefully he's definitely one of the GOATs in UFC, and it's a much rarer card, but not one that I'm going to spend $100 or $150 to send into PSA. So something like this should have a decent amount of value increased, even in an SGC slab. Again, I don't know if I'm going to sell it, but that's kind of where we're at on that. So that's the whole shebang, and obviously I'll have a follow-up video once I get everything back. And we'll kind of evaluate and see what our grades were, what we thought they were going to be, and what they ended up coming back as. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for Sunday rips this week. Don't know if I'll be ripping the Bowman draft. I got some other stuff in the mail. We also have that Illusions and the Absolute Football, so might be something like that. And then got a little sneak peek here. Got a little bit of mail coming. A little bit of mail here, so we'll see what we get here towards the end of the week and see what we rip. So all right, have a good day. Hope you enjoyed the video.